Rockers, we are back for another amazing edition. I got Nathan Hirsch with me. And I think what you guys are going to find super interesting about Nathan, besides being a cool dude, he's a dad. You can tell he reads a lot of books. Those aren't just for show behind him, even though they're all color coded and I see his OCD hard at work.
Tell my wife.
Is that he has built an 8-figure business that runs entirely on virtual assistants. And we're going to be talking about Outsource School today. And really just like, a thing I think so many of you guys struggle with, which is getting you out of the puzzle. And I think a lot of people just don't know how to hire correctly. I know I didn't. I had to consume a lot of John Jonas's stuff for like 6-7 years, like it was a religion, to be able to even get halfway decent at it. And I think it gets even more complex as people like bring on other cultures that they don't fully understand and all that. So anyways, firstly, let's get the obligatory hello, thanks for being here out of the way.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I know we both rescheduled on each other, so I'm glad we could finally make it happen.
Yeah, this is the reality of two busy dudes building companies who got too many kids between us. So stoked to see you. Firstly, before we get into the good stuff, so your wife really does color code your books, right? Like I'm not imagining that.
She does. It's funny. We after we exited FreeUp, we bought this house, our second house, and this was the office room, but I never work out of it. I like moving around throughout the day. I'm like on the couch, I'm in our dining room, and she's in here all the time. But whenever I have a podcast or I have any kind of recording or something, I jump in here and she's nice enough to let me use her space. So normally I'm like you, I avoid Zoom calls if I don't have to, but if it's some kind of recording or something, I'm in the office.
Yeah. That's all I do, man. The only calls I have these days are like content creation where we're co-creating something cool. So let's talk like 8-figure business entirely by virtual assistants. I assume like most people, you had some struggles and some growing pains. Like it wasn't like day one, you just magically brought in these awesome virtual assistants and they didn't immediately make your life easier. I'm sure the opposite. Take me back to the beginning of like your journey of what I would call the fuck up stage, where you get the hard lessons and you're just like everybody's driving you crazy and your company's kind of falling apart because you can't find good people.
Yeah. So sorry, someone's calling me. Yeah. So, I mean, my real struggles came in the business before that. I was a big Amazon seller, and I built this Amazon business, really just great timing getting in 2008, 2009. But I was in college and I really struggled to hire college kids. They were super unreliable. They were smoking weed on the job. I was banging on their doors to get them to show up to work. And I didn't really think it was possible to hire adults. I was 20. I didn't know anything about hiring adults. And so I really got into hiring virtual assistants by necessity. A buddy of mine introduced me to my first VA from the Philippines. I didn't know where the Philippines was on a map. I had never really spoken to someone from that culture before. And I learned everything about working with them over the next few years. There were tons of struggles, lots of turnovers. People hated working for me. I think I was a little too high energy, too stressful for a lot of people in the Philippines. But I slowly figured it out. And my business partner and I, we built what we called our VA army, so to speak. And when Amazon became harder, everyone's becoming a seller, whatever it is. We started offering all these VAs to all these different e-commerce sellers, and that became FreeUp, a pre-vetted marketplace for virtual assistants. So we ended up taking the best VAs from our Amazon business, putting them on the internal team of FreeUp, and from there, it's how do we push the limit? Before with the Amazon business, we were using VAs for inventory management and changing prices and stuff that now there's automated software for. But with FreeUp, we need people to do sales calls. We need people to do bookkeeping. We need people to do lead generation, run our marketing team for B2B because Amazon wasn't handling it anymore. So that's really when we started to push the limit and just see, hey, what can we use VAs for that other people are not doing? And that's kind of what we continue to do to this day. I mean, I have a VA that goes on podcasts for me and does guests. So we really try to push the limit, but it all comes back to all those struggles we had as a 20-year-old entrepreneur that had no idea what they were doing and trying to hire people for the first time.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Those some of the hardest lessons are the most valuable. I actually feel like personally, like just now that you mentioned, part of the reason I feel qualified to talk about this stuff is because I was so bad at it for so long, and because of it, it's like. But I love that you guys are pushing the envelope on that. Like we actually have our entire real estate acquisitions team is done virtually in the Philippines. So we buy mostly in the state of Tennessee and sight unseen, and it's all negotiated, bought. The leads are generated entirely through virtual assistants. Big shout out to Matt Larson for that. But I love that you said that because I think there's the belief that oh, Filipinos can't sell. They can't do sales calls. You can't use them for customer service. No, nobody would ever talk to somebody overseas. And obviously you're breaking those boundaries. So be curious to know like kind of like a little bit about like, without spoiling your secret sauce too much, but like a little bit about what your process looks like now and how you kind of like screen, because so much to this to me is like the process for screening for the right people and the right talent. Like at least that's my interpretation of it. I'd love to hear just a little bit about how you guys approach, your outsource army, your virtual assistant army.
Yeah. So, and you kind of talked about it too. I mean, hiring is the key to being an entrepreneur. It's the number one skill, the number one process you got to build in any business. And if you don't build it, it's always something that's going to hold you back. You're always going to run out of hours in the day. You're always going to get pulled into fires and having to put them out. But on the flip
That
side,
never
if you
happened.
get on the flip side, if you get good at hiring, it just makes everything else easier. Whenever you have a problem, you hire someone to solve it. Whenever you want to try something, you hire someone, and it makes business a lot more fun. So for us, to simplify it, we like to break it down into 4 parts. You've got interviewing, onboarding, training, and managing. And to focus on the front part, when we're interviewing people, we're not just looking for skill. That's where a lot of people go wrong. We're looking for skill, attitude, and communication. They have to have the trifecta. And we call
Yeah.
it our CARE interview process: communication, attitude, and experience. And the R stands for red flags. We're looking for, what are the red flags? What are this person telling me that shows me they don't have the experience I need? They don't have the right communication skills to work with me, or they don't have the right attitude. And it's very rare that you find the trifecta of all 3 and that person doesn't work out. Usually they have a good attitude and they're good at skills, but they can't communicate, or they have good communication, they're good at the job, but their attitude's terrible, and that leads to a bad hire. So really
Yeah.
focusing on only hiring people that have that trifecta is going to drastically improve your hiring percentage.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too, because I have a mentor who describes it. He says, I don't tolerate brilliant assholes. And a lot of times when people only hire for skill, they either end up with somebody who can do the task, but is difficult to work with attitude wise or communication wise. And like, I'm like you, I like people that kind of like almost over communicate. Like they let me know what's going on before I need to know. Like my VAs now tell me, hey, Frankie, just so you know, we got 25 videos left in the pipeline. 2 Fridays from now, you're going to have to record something. Like, like that kind of thing, like just makes my life so much easier than having to go in and check in, like, why are there any videos? And like, you're in this kind of like reactive state. And you hit the nail on the head with the kind of the trifecta there. Just because we're a little bit short on time, I wonder if you could share a little bit about like, for anybody who's interested in getting your help, like tell folks how they can get some of that good Hirsch virtual assistant goodness up in their world.
Yeah, well, first of all, I post a lot of free content on all channels. Nathan Hirsch on anything from TikTok to Instagram to Twitter, Facebook, you name it. But if you go to Outsource School and you end up joining, you get access to our unique hiring process. Everything from our interview questions to our onboarding templates, meeting templates, everything is in there. All of our SOPs are in there. There's 20 plus of them, from operations to marketing, that you can plug into your business, along with our Facebook group and once a month live coaching call. So that's there. If anyone wants to just save time, instead of building your own hiring process, just take ours that is proven and just plug it into your business.
Badass. Actually funny, I had a little talk with traffic and conversion is on right now. I'm not there this year, obviously too many kids for me, but to go anywhere far. But I remember having a chat with Ryan Dice one of those years, just kind of privately off to the corner of the room, said, what's your biggest challenge? And he said, talent, hiring talent. And the more and more you grow, like this will become sooner than later your biggest bottleneck. And the faster you master this skill, like as Nathan has alluded to, the more your life will get easier, and also the more you can relax. Because I used to find that like you, I was a very uptight boss in the beginning, and a lot of that was just on the basis of I didn't have good people, and so I couldn't easily let go. And so I always thought maybe I'm just a micromanager and things like that. And then when I began to actually have a process that brought in better people, you can actually step back and be at the beach or wherever it is you guys like want to be, and like be totally at peace knowing that things are getting done as they're supposed to be. So I'm glad you shared that. We'll put some links. Thank you, brother, for doing this. We're gonna have you back when I have some more time, but I wanted to get you. We had 15 minutes to rock and roll. Appreciate you jumping on with us,
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
my dude.
Cool.
That's
Hopefully that
hard
was
hitting,
good.
dude.
good
The
content, man.
trifecta is actually for real. It's like you just said out loud what I've been looking for the last 10 years that I haven't been able to articulate in words. Because it's funny too, because like I always give people trial assignments, but I'm simultaneously measuring their attitude and communication. Like, like for example, like in my trial assignments, if I give them something and then they ask me a question that I've already answered, then like immediately you're off the list because I know you can't pay attention to details, right? Like,
Right.
or if um, if they like proactively update me on the trial assignment, like I'm like, okay, we're in, and they're really pleasant to deal with. I'm like, ooh, that's good territory to be in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, appreciate it. And I'd love to do more stuff with you. We can keep the other recording if you want and talk
Yeah,
more
let's
about
keep the other
bootcamp.
recording in place, and we can do more on this if you want, and or just focus on the accounting side. It's really up to you, but I'm down. I like, by the way, you posted in the ClickFunnels group about partnerships, and I've been preaching about that exact strategy for longer than people can imagine. I'll tell you the biggest reason why most beginners don't is because you actually have to forge real relationships. Like there's
Right.
no immediate front end day
Yeah.
one
It's a
paycheck,
long-term ROI.
but like it grows it exponentially faster than anything else I've ever seen.
100%. I mean, that was the biggest key to free up is all the partners just cross promoting with us.
Totally. All right, brother. I got a jet. Appreciate you.
See you, man.